We are coming at you live with session 76 of our Drowned Gods campaign. Classic, I forgot to ask, do we have junior notes today?
No. They got
All
like
right.
half started
No
again.
worries. All right, so we will get started
We
as
get the juicy
always.
part.
You got the juicy part? Well, we'll maybe make you read them then. But,
We find the ship and swim back to it. Anawinui kisses Delphine at the transformation in a state of confusion.
I think that
We're
was
ready
the
to voyage again.
last
That was, I
game.
think that was, yeah, I was about to say, I think that was like the time before.
Yeah.
So
So no Akalupu notes. Fair enough.
definitely not.
All right, let's go ahead and get started. As always, then, everyone, please reset your hero point pools to 1. And who would like to give a recap of the last game for an extra hero point?
Clearly not me.
I will.
I was gonna say not me.
Yeah.
All right, go for it, Molly.
Okay. We ran into a ship on the water during a random event, which was exciting because we hadn't run into very many people. And it was a colorful ship that was really small. And we were like, how did it even get out here? And I immediately was like, oh my gosh, it sounds like Beetle's ship from Zelda. And Thomas was like, yeah, that is what I based it on. So we got to go into a shop ship, whatever you want to call it, and do some purchasing, which was exciting. Let's see. They traded some fish and one of Mako's elixirs and Manu's dubious brew for a piece of heart, which was described as just a pink quartz in the shape of a heart. So yet to be discovered if it's like got magical abilities, maybe healing abilities. A couple of bombs to use in our catapult, and four Hyoi pears, which was a strange fruit that we're not exactly sure what it does. It doesn't seem to be for human consumption. They gave it to me, Mako, to do some alchemical experiments on. That night, Ip and Delphine are on the deck, keeping watch, holding onto the wheel, that kind of a thing. And they see a really strange storm that's spinning, but not really moving the way that storms should over the ocean. So in the morning, when everybody wakes up, Mako, the navigator, and Manu, the captain, discuss it, and we all, as a crew, agree to head towards the storm, hoping that it's spinning over something magical or good or an island or something. And it does turn out to be an island. It's a rocky island, which seems to be pulling us unnaturally quickly towards it. Ip notices a green light that's pulsing above the island. And when we look down beneath our floating ship, we see these big skeletal, like, whales and creatures swimming around in there, so that's spooky. And then to add spooky to spookiness, we get the green light flashes, I believe.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, and as we get closer, we see that the green light is coming from the top tip of a stone pyramid structure. There's a bright flash of light, and then a bunch of skeletal soldiers appear on our ship. And we fight, and as usual, Junior is beating them up, and everybody else is holding their own. But then Ip just does like this really awesome move by casting a heal in like a big area, which has the opposite effect on skeletal soldiers, and it destroys all of them, and we're all saved like instantly, and we're all like, oh shoot, like Ip is pretty cool in this situation. Oh yeah, and that particular attack also makes Manoa Nui fall to the ground in pain, I believe, because their hand is turning into a skeleton with dark magic. So
not that anyone else knows that yet.
Yeah, underneath their very cool gloves. They have a lot of pain in that evil skeleton hand, but we're kind of distracted by the fact that we're getting sucked in towards this island. So nobody has mentioned it or noticed it.
Well, that happened.
Yet.
So the reason for that is that the fight with the skeletons concluded pretty much at the same time as you hit the comm spot, kind of in the eye of the storm. So there hasn't been time to react to it yet.
Okay, yeah. And also, we just maybe have bigger fish to fry because now we're like basically at the island. We didn't have a chance to circle it 3 times like we're supposed to for the Kapu.
We haven't landed yet, so.
Yeah. Yeah, so we'll have to look into that. Yeah, the pulling suddenly stops. We're in a calm pocket. And we noticed fires on the beach, perhaps welcoming us to this mysterious island, ? And that's where we stopped.
All right, that was a great recap. Only thing that I would add is that after buying stuff from Beetle, he was giving you stamps and some sort of a loyalty card. You have 3 out of 8 stamps, so who knows what kind of cool stuff you might get if you filled out the rest of that card. Yeah, that was a great recap. Go ahead and give yourself an extra hero point.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll pick up from there. So Ip is currently standing at the top of the crow's nest with his arms outstretched, channeling out, just having finished channeling out positive energy. And the skeletons are actively, starting to fade away as they crumble into dust around you. And the ship, thankfully, as you hit this point of calmness, stops being drawn inexorably toward the island. And finally, Mako, you're able to grab the wheel and swing it either left or right to avoid crashing into the island. Which way would you like to circle?
To the right.
All right, so you spin the wheel hard to starboard and are able to get yourself back under control and rest your momentum. Meanwhile, down just below the crow's nest, or on the deck itself, Mono Anui is doubled over in pain, having just let out a shrill scream, and she is clutching at her left hand. Mono Anui, you only wear one glove, right? You just cover the left hand?
Yeah, that's correct.
All right, so she's clutching at her one gloved hand, which is a long black glove that goes past the elbow, if I am remembering correctly.
Correct.
That probably looks so cool.
It's for dramatic effect, like just the one,
Yeah.
Pretty BA.
You got the skull for a hat when you're not wearing your fancy captain's hat. Like the whole thing. All right, so you guys finally have a moment to breathe as you have the ship under control and the bridge, it seems to be safe for the moment. The pyramid is no longer glowing, and the soft drizzle of rain, a damp, chilly rain, is slowly getting you all soaked.
Are the fires on the beach, were they extending on both sides of us? I stand by my decision to go right, but just curious.
So you look, and the fires weren't on the beach per se. They were kind of up there. There are a few places that have lower beaches, but a lot of the island has these sheer cliffs along the sides that are probably 30 to 40 feet tall. All made of this dark, very dreary looking gray stone. And the fires you see are kind of starting on one of the beach areas and then extending to your, I guess it would be your rear now, but it was your left, up into a cliff area. And you can see, now that you have a moment to look a little bit more closely, that it's not just fires. In fact, there are only a couple that seem to even be open flames, but actual lights, and that there are a number of buildings built into and above the cliff that are made out of the old debris of wrecked ships repurposed into housing.
Interesting. So you said there was like a line of fires like leaning us into the center of the island, or at least away from the edge.
The light does extend away from the edge of the island, yes.
Okay, interesting. Well, I think my top priority is going to be circling the island because I don't want bad stuff to happen to us.
Yeah.
So, I'm not paying attention to what's going on with Manawanui on the deck.
Right.
I am going to begin hopefully being able to circle the island 3 times in a counterclockwise fashion.
All right, you're able to do that. You begin the prescribed chants as part of the ritual, allowing you to make landfall on an island.
Do only I have to do the chant, or does everybody have to do the chant?
At least one person has to be chanting at all times.
That can be me. That can be my job.
All right.
Get you some honey and lemon tea.
Yep. And you are, I imagine, going fairly carefully about it. So it'll probably take you an hour, maybe an hour and a half to do a single circuit of the island.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be several hours before you're able to make landfall.
Well, I can certainly, at least, like Abe is saying, maybe I can't chant by myself the whole time, but I can at least get the process started, like call that my responsibility to get it started, and then I bet Ip loves some chanting, so maybe he'll join me.
I'm a big chanter.
But everything's pretty freaky on the deck right now. Like, everybody's freaking out. Like, everybody's heart is pounding, I believe, so it's okay if nobody else is, like, ready to, like, jump in on this. I'm just the world's most present of mind 17-year-old.
Exactly. You always have been the reliable one on the crew, after all.
Thank you for saying that, Dominic.
All right. So, Manawanui, you are, like, the pain has ceased, though there is still an afterburning kind of sensation. And you can feel this, the pain was just, completely overwhelming during the time that Ip was channeling. And you can feel it still throbbing all the way from the tips of your left hand's fingers down to about 3 inches below the wrist. And you can feel, it feels like every beat of your heart is continuing to throb uncomfortably.
I'm gonna try and pull my body to the entrance of like the below decks and go below decks.
All right. So you're able to fairly easily do that. So you're going into the hatch into the general quarters. You're not going into your own cabin.
Well, I'm going to my cabin.
Okay. So yeah, you are easily.
I'm taking off that glove and I'm looking at my hand.
Okay. No one is going to intercept or ask the captain any questions before she hobbles off into her darkened doorway silently.
With a loop,
I'm
who's
still
gonna
up
run
in the
over
crow's
and
nest.
check on her.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, and you can get down from the crow's nest pretty quick. So that would be like a matter of seconds if you want to get down.
Me and Burnbraid are hugging, slapping each other on the back, celebrating.
Yeah, bro, that was like frickin' awesome.
Yeah, I'm like so cool.
Yeah. Praise the great mother for delivering us from this evil.
Amen.
All right, so
We should
Akalupu,
make
you're...
frat tanks that say "Praise the Great Mother."
That'd be pretty sweet. All right, so Akalupa, you're running over to Manawanui?
Yes.
Okay.
And just kind of like, probably before she gets up, really.
Yes,
Mother
intercept
Dewey,
those
are you
secrets.
okay? Oh, Judah, are you okay?
Yes, I'm just fine. Help me to my feet. I'm gonna reach out my one hand while we keep my other one like kind of close to my midsection, cradling it.
Boo is going to help Louis to her cabin.
All right. Yeah, Akalupu is easily able to get you over there. You know, if it weren't for protecting your, you know, sense of pride, he could easily just lift you with one arm and carry you over. But instead, he allows you to brace
never
yourself.
allow such a thing.
Of course. So instead, he allows you to brace yourself, and you know, gives you more than enough support. And though you know that you're not really that badly off, other than the pain. So the support is almost entirely just superfluous, but appreciated nonetheless, I imagine.
Once they get to the cabin, Monomono is going to turn to Akum and say, "All right, go check on Mako and make sure we're not still careening towards the island, or see if she needs anything." I'm gonna make a shooing motion with my hand, like.
Philippa's going to kind of give Manueli a sideways look, having known her long enough to know something's up. But
Well, go. I don't wish to be dashed upon the rocks. Let's say with a little bit more urgency.
I slowly walk away. Still glances back repeatedly.
Mono is gonna close that friggin' door
All right.
and
Reginald
check out her
caws mournfully from his little stand as he flaps over.
I'm gonna take off that glove.
All right. So you remove the glove, and examining your hand, you see that the progress has indeed spread. At this point, your thumb, pointer finger, and middle finger are entirely skeletal, as well as about a third of your palm. And the flesh around that area, basically all of the flesh down to that section about 3 inches below your wrist, is looking rather pale with blackened veins visible.
All right, I'm actually gonna, with that, put the glove back on. And I'm gonna call back for Akalupu Junior. Say, Junior, leave Mako a moment. Come back here. I'm sure she's got everything under control.
Just take a broom and smack the roof above you. Shout Akalupu's name.
Yeah, basically.
Because he'd be up there right above you at this point if he's talking to Mako.
Then
Unless
that's actually
he's just
exactly
waiting
what
right
I'm going to do.
outside
Yeah.
the door, like not anticipating.
Well, Mono is going to go to the door, crack it open, and yell that. But if he's standing right there, Mono is just going to be like, oh. Flinch back.
Yeah, Akalupu is like right outside the door. Maybe with his hand up against the door.
Like bonk your head a little bit with the door.
Yeah. I think it would open inward.
Oh.
Is that correct? No, it would open outward. So yeah, you bonk his head.
Oh, well, go get look at him a little like, I thought I told you to go, but I'm not gonna bring it up. I'm not gonna say anything. It's just gonna convey that in the look like, what the heck? Anyway, actually, Akalupu, go bring a Foy Pip here. I've been told to say Akalupu nods and follows that instruction.
All right.
Okay, I'm on my way down from the crow's nest. So I assume I run into Akalupu shortly and head over to the captain's quarters.
Sweet. All right. Takes you but a few moments to arrive at the door.
All right, I am going to bring them both into the room. And so I figured, Akalupu, he's a solid enough dude.
Yeah, the two of you are tight.
Yeah, pretty tight. And then I kind of just need a Foy Pip to know this, mostly so he doesn't kill me. Alright, a Foy Pip. I don't know if you remember certain healings I was getting from you back on I don't remember what it was called, but Dino Island.
Oh yeah, how's
Before
your
we
hand
start.
doing? Has it healed yet?
Well, I'm gonna take off the glove. Well, actually, yeah, I'm gonna take off the glove and say, it seems that with every healing treatment we do, it gets significantly worse. I'm gonna show him my partially skeletal hand.
Oh my great mother.
Indeed,
That's not just bad.
I appear to have come into contact with some foul curse in the catacombs beneath Dino Island. Either way, it seems that healing magic has the opposite effect on me. I'm gonna say, looking at my hand, kind of like gesturing to the hand, as
Yeah, that means that your hand is necrotic. It's literally dead. But somehow you're still able to control it?
appears to be the case.
You say
Sounds
as you
like a
like
nasty
creepily
curse
wiggle your
indeed.
fingers.
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm picturing. Just kind of like moving. Then you just see a skeleton, like bone fingers, just like moving.
Yeah.
Anywho, either way, it seems that whatever is happening is beyond my limited or my not. Well, I don't know if I want to go there. Beyond my current understanding, but needless to say, I don't think we should be doing any more massive heal bombs, if you know what I mean.
I guess if I can control it, I can do it in a cone shape and try to avoid you, but I don't know. If we're surrounded, I might do it anyway because the trade-off might be all of us getting overrun.
Just keep it in mind next time.
Oh no, it's not a cone. If I do it, it
Yeah, I
just
think it's like
increases
an
the
area of
range
effect.
to 30 feet, but it's only one creature. If I want to do it in an area, it's just in an emanation.
Yeah.
Yay. Well,
So I'll do my best not to hit you with it, but I'm not going to make any promises if I have to heal everybody.
let's just save it for desperate times. You have to do a mass heal. Preferably wait till I'm out of the way. And also, these skeletal creatures are interesting. They seem to be bound by the same kind of magic that's keeping my hands together. So keep your eyes out and keep it
Keep it what?
Did we lose Abe?
Perhaps there's baby emergencies happening.
No, his phone died.
Oh, classic.
Classic.
Every single session.
Gotta remember to charge that puppy. Or, I mean, realistically, he's got to keep it plugged in.
Right, we just got to get a plug near where he's playing, so you can keep it plugged in while we're playing.
I'm sorry. My phone decided to die. How rude. How rude.
Terrible.
It could have used your healing spell. No, Mononui just said, if we can help it, let's try and keep this on the... keep it secret. Not let the information out of anybody in this room as to unnecessarily worry anyone.
Yeah, we wouldn't want to cause a panic,
Yeah.
but maybe we'll figure out on this skeleton island. Perhaps the green light can help figure out what's wrong with you and how to fix it.
Indeed. I don't know if I cut out before I said this, but I was saying that since this seems to be some sort of there seems to be some sort of magic here that binds dead things, similar to my head, maybe we could keep your eyes out for any sort of magical effects or answers.
Exactly.
When did this thing with your hand start? Do you know what caused the curse?
As I said, I was delving into the caves, the caverns beneath. I don't know if you ever went down there, but there's quite a few caverns back at Dino Island, and seem to have come into contact with some nasty bit of magic.
I feel like most curses like that are pretty specific in how you need to get rid of them, so we might need to go back there at some point.
Oh, I don't think there's anything left there. But maybe. Nervously looks at bed.
All right, well, I'll keep this a secret, but can't keep it a secret forever. And we really got to do something about that hand before it stops to work.
Well, before it doesn't stop.
Or
Right,
have you
well-
considered that if you became a skeleton, you wouldn't have to eat anymore and your supplies on the ship would last longer?
Yeah. I have a bit of problems with the natives, though, you know what I mean? I don't think too many people are too keen on a Skeletor coming off like the boats from the ocean and we come in peace. Nobody
Charisma
fear.
stat plummets.
Exactly.
Very well. Well, you two best go help bring the ship in. I think Makao must be getting tired of chanting up there all by herself.
Wait, I just had an idea. If
Oh?
healing hurts your hand, what if I try to cast harm on you, which is the opposite of
Is it necrotic harm in nature?
it will heal undead.
Oh. Is there like a tiny, minor version you can try out first?
Yeah.
Well, you can give it a shot. I'm gonna hold my hand out tepidly.
I cast harm on his hand.
Okay.
All right. So you're doing this as a touch spell,
Yes.
and then instead of heightening it, you're leaving it at the level 1, so just 1d8.
Correct.
All right, cool. So you do that, and in fact, I don't think you have any damage, but if you did, you feel like you would have healed for 1d8 hit points, Manawanui.
Oh. But nothing physically changes about the aspect of the hand.
Um, visibly not particularly, but the pain that you had been feeling, like the dull ache that had been left behind, is completely erased, and it feels stronger.
Try it again. That seemed
So
to
it
help.
worked.
I'm tepidly curious to see what would happen if we tried a stronger version.
Well, we'll have to wait until tomorrow because that was my only harm spell prepared for the day.
This is true. Well, like I said, you two probably should go up and help bring the ship in and help Macau with the chant. I think the
I'm
last thing we
curious.
need is to upset the Kapu.
I'm curious what would happen if I cast harm on a different part of your body.
I'm not. No, I'm just kidding. Well, you think about it. Maybe say some prayers about it. Meditate on it.
Absolutely.
And-
I'm praying for your recovery and the lifting of the curse that afflicts you.
We'll reconvene at a later date.
I love that Thomas said you feel like if you had any missing hit points, you would have healed 1d8 worth of damage. That's how drinking a yellow Gatorade feels.
I was just about to say that. I was like, that's like drinking tea when you're feeling already good.
It's just like, dang, I feel like I would have healed 1d8 damage.
Yeah. All right, so you guys head out of the cabin. Mako is still driving and chanting. Burnbright has busied himself looking over the ship for any damage and making a few minor repairs. And Dolphine is looking interestedly at the island from the railing over here. So, what would you guys like to do? I imagine someone would probably like to get up in the crow's nest, give me some perception checks to check out the island.
Is Burnbright still up there?
Burnbright is not. Burnbright has started doing some minor repairs around the ship.
That's important.
Okay. I'll go back up in the crow's nest. That's honestly a good, pretty isolated place to my praying and chanting anyway.
All right. So, Ip is taking up the chant, so Mako, you're able to give your throat a bit of a rest.
That's me. Being
Exactly.
relieved.
So Ip, let's go ahead and get a perception check.
Perception is really bad. Nat 1.
Oof.
That was
So
a-
yeah, you are like way too focused on the chanting, I guess.
Chanting and praying, eyes literally closed.
Yeah. So you are not seeing anything. Anyone else? You have around 4 to 5 hours while you're doing the 3 circles of the island.
Well, after about like 2 hours, Mononui is gonna be finished, kind of recomposing herself. She's gonna wrap her hand. Well, I don't know, because it's not like it impedes my my dexterity at all, correct?
No, in fact, the opposite. You feel like that hand is more capable than your right hand, even though you're probably right hand dominant. But you've noticed recently that you're starting to favor your left hand, and it feels stronger and more dexterous.
Well, there we go. All right, I'm going to. I was gonna wrap it in a cloth and then put the glove on, but I'll just put the glove on.
All right.
Takaluku's rolling perception and got an 18.
All right. So you're able to make out that the island is, as described, made of these wet, kind of depressing, dark gray rocks. Further in on the island, past what is a largely cliffy kind of front, there are occasional beaches. It's not nearly like Papaya Island, if you guys remember that, where it was all cliffs and it was basically inaccessible outside of, either scaling the cliff or a few sets of stairs that were carved into it. Instead, there is some variety, and there are areas that go lower down that you could just walk up the beach and onto the island. But there's still a good number of cliff areas as well. And you can see further into the island, there is forest areas that are made of very gnarled, twisted looking trees. Your character wouldn't really recognize it, but they're, slow growth trees like you would often see at high altitudes. So kind of like Joshua trees and the like. And you can see in the center of the island this massive pyramid. The cap is no longer glowing, but otherwise you're not able to make out a whole lot of detail.
So there's no more green light?
No more green light.
Okay.
Mono and we feel drawn to the pyramid.
You actually do. And your innate detect magic is going off like crazy. Like you remember there was that moving source of strong magic when you guys were exploring the caves that turned out to be Genie?
Yeah.
It is similar to that, but even more intense. And then there are also other magics afoot, ones that feel very familiar from your readings in the Necronomicon.
Oh, I'm sure that bodes well.
Of course.
I mean, it might bode well for me. All right.
And of course, it would feel very similar to the magics you detect from the phylactery that started this whole skeletal hand business.
Was anyone of sound enough mind to notice if the green light went off at the same time that we stopped being pulled in?
Go ahead and give me let's say a will check, a will save, like to see how well you were able to avoid being distracted by all that.
Yeah, for sure. Nat 1.
All right, so you do not remember.
No worries.
We're just getting them out of the way.
Now, if you'd like to ask anyone else about it, you can. Manawanui, you were definitely far too distracted by your hand. So you definitely don't remember. Do you ask anyone else, Mako?
Nah, I don't. In character, I don't feel it's important enough to like bring up. I'm still kind of shaken from that fight and everything.
Okay, sounds good. Manawanui, so you've recovered and you're heading out?
I am.
Okay.
Gonna go up to who's been the primary person who's been like scouting up the island? Is that Akalupu?
Akalupu and Dolphine have both been looking at it from the railing. I'm assuming, Akalupu, you didn't climb up to the crow's nest, right?
That's correct.
Okay. And then Ip theoretically was supposed to, but seems like he's distracted.
He's praying.
Whose fault could that be, Manawanui? Just joking.
Exactly.
Don't worry about it, guys. I'm sure it's completely a coincidence.
Let me just dump this like complicated, dramatic reveal on you when we're all trying to focus.
I feel
Yeah. Gur is also standing on the railing over there, and he's like, "Oh, it's like a birthday cake.
what?
It's like a birthday cake on the
It's like
island."
the island is layered like a cake.
Oh. Monomono is going to continue to walk up to Dolphine. She's going to be like, yeah, like a birthday cake. And then walk up to Dolphine and Akalupu. Oh, I guess Akalupu's not with her. Is Akalupu next to her?
I don't know. Would you like to place yourself, Akalupu? If you have easy access to Roll20. Okay, I'm going to assume she doesn't, so I'm going to put her here, because that was where I was planning.
All right. Monomanui. Yeah, let me move myself. Let me move.
Well, I did
Why did
move
you
you
minimum-
over by Dolphine.
Oh, cool. All right, so Monomanui is going to ask Dolphine. He's gonna go move. Well, what where's the best place to go ashore?
Well, the cliffs are high enough. I don't think we probably want to use the energy it would be required to go up on any of the cliffs. So I guess one of the various beaches around here. There was some sort of settlement close to where we initially approached the island. We'll see it again
Yeah.
here in a bit. I think we're probably about 3/4 of the way around the island so far.
Hmm.
Also, I'm glad Ip explained to me about this whole circling the island business, so otherwise I would be very confused about what you're doing right now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, bad things will happen.
Yeah, so he
Doesn't
said
matter.
something about
that.
shame and ancestors.
Yeah, I think it takes a distinct form for each person, but yeah, generally bad bad things.
Yeah.
Well, see that pyramid there in the middle.
Yeah,
interesting
it's hard to
structure.
miss. Who could even build a structure that big?
Mm. You never know. We saw some pretty ancient large structures back on where we come from.
Yeah. I suppose the same thing happens underwater. Abandoned temples and strange things are often uncovered. Usually they bring more trouble than they're worth, though, other than for the few brave enough to try and plumb their depths for treasure.
Monono is gonna briefly glance at her hand, her gloved hand, as she says that, and be like, but you never know if you don't try.
That's true.
Just remain a mystery forever.
All right. Would you like to roll perception to check out stuff on the island?
I would love to roll perception. And Anna and I moved around our room, so I actually found my D20. It was like under the bed.
Nice. It was just trying to escape from you.
Now you just
I know,
need to
right?
find an outlet where you could plug in your phone.
Well, I'm at my computer, so I can literally just plug it in here. I just didn't.
Yup.
I think the operative word you're looking for is don't. You just don't plug in your phone.
I'm just trying to save on power, you know?
There you go.
No, I got a 29.
All right. A little
No,
bit better
that's
than
not
an
true.
18.
Perception, I got a 27. I'm
Okay.
sorry, I thought I had a 12.
That's still a
I
little
have a
bit better
10.
than Akalupu's 18. So you notice all of the same things that Akalupu did, but you notice a few more details. One thing that stands out to you is at one point as you're circling the island, you see a pack of wolves. At first, it's only 2 or 3, but then you see a whole group of smaller figures, perhaps wolf pups, come up until there's about a dozen or so in total. But looking a little bit closer, you realize that no, those smaller ones are not pups. Those are full-sized wolves, and the ones you saw at first are just big. Easily like 3 times the size of the others. Not that much smaller than the unicorns even.
We're talking like horse size?
Not quite horse size, but getting close. Big enough you could definitely ride one. And you can see them staring at you as you are sailing past rather intently.
I'm gonna point out the wolves to Delphine and say, those might give us some trouble.
Yeah, until you pointed it out, I didn't even realize how big those ones were.
I
All right.
have to be careful.
Another detail you notice, and perhaps this would explain Gur's comments, you notice that the pyramid is not uniform, but that it actually seems to be made in layers. There are 4 layers. The bottom layer is very similar to the stone on the island, a dark gray stone. The layer above it is a much lighter, kind of ruddy color, almost the like a sandstone kind of color. The one above that is a light gray mixed in with some sort of marbled green. Hard to tell whether it's just perhaps moss is growing on that layer or if it's part of the stone, but you really can't tell that from here. And then the very top of the pyramid is some sort of glassy black material, like obsidian.
I'm gonna make a mental note of that.
And then as you are, sorry, go ahead.
Do I recognize any like the black glassy material or no?
It's
Do I recognize
vaguely
something like-
reminiscent of perhaps the Mother's Tower on the island, but definitely not the same material. That one was more kind of well, it was more metallic. This one is more glassy.
Like more like a crystal looking thing.
Yeah, though it's hard to tell for sure from this distance, especially through the rain.
Right.
And then as you continue circling the island, you do in fact come back to the settlement that you were approaching initially. And it still has lights up. You can see a few figures down on the beach. They seem to be waving in your direction, trying to get your attention. Yeah, it's a small settlement. You can see the houses are made out of repurposed ships parts. So, there are houses that are just the back end of a ship with a, door put in, a patched up wall. section and things of that nature, and pretty much all of the wood in the settlement appears to be repurposed from the wrecks. And there are, in fact, quite a few wrecks as you're circling the island. Ships that seem to have been dashed upon the rocks and the cliff faces. And looking in the water below you, you are still seeing those skeletal creatures every once in a while will become visible in the water below.
Hmm.
The massive
Oh, the
whale-sized
giant whales,
ones.
right?
Yes.
And you said there's people in the settlement that are trying to like wave to us or possibly flag us down.
At the very least, at this distance, you can't make out any particular details of them, but there appear to be 2 or 3 humanoid figures who are waving in your direction with both hands. One of them is waving some sort of flag on the end of a stick.
Monoanui is going to tell Monoanui is going to go say, Akalupu, wave to the people.
Akalupu waves.
All right. Akalupa waves his massive, meaty arms in the air, and you can tell the figures have noticed that you can see them, and they seem to be waving you toward them, as if inviting you to come closer.
How many more rotations do we have?
2 more rotations.
They're going to be so disappointed and confused, especially if they're like waiting for rescue.
Imagine you get like crashed, shipwrecked on an island. You just see like people they wave at you, and then they sail away.
Yeah.
You just come back and sail away again. You're like, what the heck?
Exactly.
Are they messing with us? Like, that's so mean.
Hmm.
You could use Reginald and the message
Oh.
spell to deliver a message, perhaps.
That is 100%. I am gonna use Reginald, use the message spell, and I'm gonna say, oh, what am I gonna say? We
Tell them that we'll come back for them in like 3 hours.
Yeah. I'm like, hey, hello. We're going to be coming ashore in about. We'll be coming ashore soon. Don't want to give them a timetable lest they prepare some sort of ambush. Do you need any help? Send the message back with the Raven.
Okay. So you send Reginald over, and he is easily able to close the distance. And you see the figures kind of turn toward each other, and a brief exchange happens. One of them goes running off back toward the rest of the village. And after a few moments, Reginald returns, and gripped in his paw is holding a scrap of parchment. Or did I say paw? In his clawed foot.
I got what you meant. Akalupu, I'm sorry, Monoanui is going to take it.
All right. You retrieve it from Reginald, you unroll it, and it is, unsurprisingly, in a language you do not understand.
I am
There's a potion for that.
Oh, there is a potion for that.
Yeah. Oh, wait. Do I have one? Because I need to rest and prepare. But
Yeah,
I
you've
might
not
still
had a
have one.
chance to do that.
Yeah. I'm
Well,
I know you
tired.
traded one to Beetle for, I think, the bombs.
But I specifically I
luckily,
did trade one of them, but I specifically made a whole bunch because I thought that they would be valuable for trading, both like under the water and then conveniently when we ran into Beetle. So I do still have 2 comprehension elixirs, which is good.
I'm gonna call over to Naka. Do you have any more of those comprehension potions?
I nod wordlessly, like take one off of my potion bandolier. Is that what it's called?
Yeah. I imagine you
Marlon was going
probably would
to.
have that, except instead of like shotgun shells, you just have potions slotted in the little loops.
Totally, and it looks awesome. In case anyone was wondering,
Absolutely. Only the most fashionable.
and I toss it to Mono Anui down on the deck, or I guess just further away on the deck.
I'm gonna snatch it out of midair.
Reflex save.
All right, let's see. If we need to throw another one.
Do I need to do a check for a good throw?
We'll just assume. I mean, your whole thing is throwing potions, so we'll assume that you can aim well enough to toss it to someone.
Okay, I love that. It's like the opposite of my real life.
Yeah, no, you could definitely be like pro baseball pitcher.
I got a 19.
All right, you do indeed snatch it out of the air, and
That would have been so funny if you hadn't.
right.
It just breaks.
It would
I
have been
need
totally
another
my
one.
fault, but
No, I'm gonna pop the lid off with my thumb and like.
All right, so
Down
you
that.
break the clay seal off of the top and throw it back shot style. And indeed, you do shudder slightly as the very bitter flavor of the potion, infuses your mouth, and you swallow quickly. And with a few more involuntary shivers, you look back down at the scrap of cloth, and you can see that it says Safe Harbor on it.
ooh, like
Well,
that's what they need, or that's what they are.
You also
I don't
notice
like
that this
it.
person is a very poor penman. Even with comprehend languages, you can barely make it out because this is like doctor level handwriting.
Safe harbor. Why would somebody be that desperate just to tell us that they have a safe harbor? Anyway, Mono was
Maybe
gonna tell
because
us.
everywhere else on the island is not safe.
Maybe they assume our circling is that they're looking for a safe harbor. Either way, I think we should be on our guard. I don't trust these. Surprisingly, I know.
Yeah, big surprise.
Like, I would rather trust those wolves than these villagers.
I mean, you're not too far off.
One thing I like about wolves is you always know where they stand.
Right?
Yeah, you never know. It could be a Romulus and Remus situation that might take you in.
Right, so either they're gonna act how we think they're gonna act, or it's a positive situation. So that is somebody that Manu trusts more than like troubled-looking villagers.
Fair enough.
Exactly, man. Desperate people do desperate things. They might
All
try
right.
and tell us to take our shit. Anywho, we'll have plenty of time to prepare in the next.
Indeed. So you have another hour and a half. What would people like to do as you make your second loop?
Well, Mono Anui is going to prepare some of those brewskis. I don't know if that's enough time. Is that enough time?
That's what I was going to ask. What is the time that you need on your cauldron?
That is an excellent question. Go back to the beach. Cauldron.
So you can do it during your daily preparations, but that's already too late for that.
Loading. Maybe I'll just refresh the page. That I heal.
Okay, so it just says it's part of your daily preparations, which usually don't take that long. So we'll assume it takes you 15 minutes, 30 minutes, somewhere around there. So you can go ahead and roll for that if you'd like.
I would love to.
All right, roll crafting.
What do I have on crafting here? Plus 13. All right, so 20. Not a nat 20. Regulare 20.
All right, you're able to brew up some nice beer. You think people would appreciate? Anyone else? Okay.
I think I got to focus on driving the ship, and it takes me overnight to make any new potions. So they're going to be out of luck until tomorrow. They need something from me.
Okay, so at this point, you're wrapping up the next loop, and there is now a small crowd on the beach. Still probably less than a dozen figures, but, 8 or 9. And at this point, they've stopped waving at you, and they just seem to be looking at you.
Don't worry about it, guys. Is this the last
One
go
more.
around? Like, do we?
You have one more loop to make.
Yeah, this is only our second time passing them, so.
And at this point, it's probably mid-evening, so we'll say around 5 o'clock. You've still got a good 2 or 3 hours of sunlight left. All right, assuming that. Okay, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, Mono Inui is going to bottle up her. I assume Mono Inui is probably just using this whole time to do her brewskis.
Okay, sounds good. So you make your final loop. Nothing else seems to happen. You don't notice anything else strange that hasn't already been discovered by someone or another. And you make your final loop, and you now arrive back at the village where you first made contact with the island. And at this point, the crowd has actually thinned, and it's back to just about, I think there's really 2 people on the beach. They seem to have started a little fire and are just sitting on it. They do notice you and kind of stand up and look as you approach again. And one of them does wave this time.
Wait, are we actually pulling in?
You can if you wish. You have completed your circles, and you are welcome to now act as you so please.
Take us in. I'm gonna point dramatically.
Yeah, either they are telling us that they're the only safe harbor on the island, or they need our help. So that sounds like a good plan to me. And I'm going
Also,
to.
well, I am going to tell everybody. I'm gonna say, hey guys, let's just be on the lookout, okay? I don't know if I fully trust these people. Don't look like you're about to attack them, but like just be ready for any sort of shenanigans.
I'll be on the lookout for any skeletal people. Can I give Manawanui a wink?
I was gonna ask if you winked on the end of that.
Mono is gonna blush slightly, like, oh my gosh.
He's so bad at keeping
Dude.
secrets.
Yeah, you just do
Dude.
very, very like straight face, like don't give it away.
X-nay on the
Eleganskay.
LOL.
All right. So you guys head in. You're not too far away, far enough that you felt fairly safe, but it is just a matter of minutes before you find yourselves hovering over the beach. The transition from water to beach is quite smooth, and your ship is able to make it with no problem whatsoever. How far up on shore are you planning to take the boat?
Good question.
Well, I say we take. I mean, I'm not the pilot, but I say we take it about like 20 meter, like at least 20 meters from the shore at first. You know what I mean? Like, let's stay safe, y'all. I'm gonna say like, something like ahoy the land, something like that.
And then we're gonna like track to the settlement / village.
Yeah. Well, no. So we're gonna stop like 20 meters offshore, and then be like, hey, everybody, just see what's going on.
Okay, so you're stopping before you get above the land. Is that correct?
Yeah, before we get to the land, exactly.
Okay. So you're easily able to do that. Pull a short distance away from the actual beach. You can see they walk a bit closer, but they seem to stay a good 4 or 5 feet from the actual water line. But you are now within hailing distance. And it seems to be 2 figures, both male, dressed in fairly raggedy clothing. One of them has kind of long, greasy, kind of spindly hair. He seems to be missing a number of teeth and has a broad forehead. Meanwhile, the other is a much skinnier of the two. He seems to be a bit younger, though, with a ruddy complexion and numerous freckles and curly red hair. And the older of the two hails you and says, "Ahoy there, strangers! I see you've fallen afoul of this dastardly island, same as we. I don't pretend to know why you've been circling us for the last 3 hours. You're welcome here if you wish to make landfall, or whatever you do in a flying boat."
Oh. I'm going to actually tell Akalupu to do the talking. I'm like, Akalupu, ask them how they got here. If Akalupu is able. If not, he's going to say that exact same thing, except to, going to say that except to, the Makao. Not Makao, Poison.
Wait, what are you saying to me?
Oh, tell them to ask them, like, how they came about here.
Why me?
Well, I was going to have Akalupu do it, but Akalupu is not available.
Oh, fair enough.
Excuse me, do you understand the language I'm speaking? Perhaps Dwarvish. Ding dang, hawk, fuck, da ding there,
No, English is good. Our normal caller is down with throat illness.
I see. I'm afraid we can't offer too much in the way of medicines that would help with that, but we're willing to do what we can.
Thank you. Sorry it took us hours. We were doing very important spiritual work.
Well, I'm sure it's beyond a simple fellow like me. But whatever it is you wish to achieve, I hope you succeeded.
Manawanui, what should I tell them? Are we?
Ask them how they got here.
Oh, how did you end up at this island?
Well, same as you. We were dragged here by that cursed pyramid. And he points at the pyramid inland. Anyone who even comes close to this island falls afoul of its wicked sorceries.
To be fair, we didn't actually know that we were dragged by that pyramid.
Yeah, we came voluntarily, but let's not tell them that.
Well, Mako, you did notice first of all that you were moving faster than you should, and second of all, at one point you did try to make a corrective movement to try and turn so that you could circle instead of heading straight toward it, and were unable to. So you know that something was dragging you toward the island, and it was not the wind.
We know. It's just that's not like why we initially were like, let's go to this spooky island. We were just like,
fair.
Let's just go.
Very fair.
Yeah, it may have had to do with some foolhardiness.
But that's what happens when you're an adventurer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just like you were telling Delphine. Why do men climb mountains? Because they are there.
Exactly. Yes, unfortunately, there are a number of us poor unfortunate souls who have found ourselves rather permanently housed here, I suppose.
Manawanui, their story checks out, and my throat is getting scratchy. I think we should just go talk to them like normal people.
Well, ask them what safe harbor means.
What did you mean when you wrote safe harbor?
Oh, we were worried. You seemed rather reticent, considering after arriving at our beach, you just sailed away. We wanted to assure you that we could offer you safe harbor here.
Should we take them up on it?
Seems sketch.
They seem so nice.
Their story checks out.
Alright. You guys wanna. That's chill. I trust you. I trust your instinct.
Seems sketch, you said that.
Thank you very much. We'll be coming ashore soon.
Very good. We've already sent back to the village to let them know that we have new arrivals. I'm afraid we have only meager pittance to offer you, but we will do our best to give you shelter, though perhaps you may find it more comfortable on your boat. It's rather a unique event that you've come here unscathed most, and he waves toward the wreckage on the shoreline. End up in rather a more sorry condition. You must.
Should we offer to help fix their boat? I guess let's go say hi and see what's up first.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so you sail inland. Now I assume you are going about 40 meters up the beach, or was it 20 meters?
I think I said 40, but 20 is chill.
Okay. So you go about 60 feet up the beach and throw down your anchor. And yeah. Burnbright is like, oh, guys, we are all between the last storm and now, I mean, the ship is, it's in decent condition, but I'm really worried if we wanted to take it for too long. I think I might need to stay here for a while and just like do some repairs. If you guys are able to find any materials to help with that, that'd be great, because like I've gone through a decent number of what we already had on the boat, plus like repurposing some of the damaged pieces I collected from before, but yeah, we're looking a little rough here.
Well, luckily there seems to be no shortage of wrecked ships on this island. Fortunately for us, I mean, not for them, obviously.
Yeah.
but I don't think that there's a rush on that because it doesn't seem like we'll be able to take our boat out of here anytime soon until we figure out some more about the secrets of this island.
Right.
So we'll definitely get you some materials, but don't forget to rest as well because it seems like we're stuck here for the time being.
Okay, yeah, totally. Also, with how little light's getting down here, I think we're gonna have to like pretty much touch the ship down, not to just completely drain the batteries.
Good thinking.
All right, so yeah, y'all go check it out, and yeah, I'll take care of the boat here with Gur. We'll be on lookout. So then Dolphine asks, I can stay and do lookout as well, or come with you. What do you prefer? And she, kind of asking you, Manawanui, as the captain.
I think I will stay here. And I think you and... Wait, hold on. Let me think. No, well... I think Gur and Manawanui, not Manawanui, Burn Bright should stay on the boat. I think the rest of us should be fine to go ashore.
All right, sounds good.
I trust Gur and Burn Bright to... They seem like they can do enough damage, if need be.
Yeah, I'll try to make sure Gur doesn't, like, take your head off this time when you come back, though.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah.
Having a working head.
He is a menace with that frying pan.
It is nice to have a working head. But he's good for what we need him for. Gur.
Yeah, you hear Gur shouting from the kitchen, out of the fire, into the frying pan. Oh wait, that's not how it goes.
I feel so secure about my choices already.
All right. So, Burnbright is, getting things ready, taking the ship down to just above ground level, which obviously is still only the bottom of the boat, so you guys will still need to throw over your netting so that you can descend, but that's done easily enough, and you are descend down onto beach level. Let me go ahead and... Oop.
Do we not need to actually touch down and be sitting the boat on the beach?
The boat is not built to where you could completely turn off its ability to float on land without doing significant damage. So you have to leave it on just a wee bit, or put it back in the water. One or the other.
Okay. But inches should drain the battery pretty darn slowly.
Exactly. And even though it is overcast, so there's not a lot of sun, there is enough that you would be able to hold this more or less indefinitely.
Perfect. Okay, cool. Thank you.
Let's see, so Burnbright is not there, Gur is not there, Galupu, everyone else is. All right, so you are now down on the beach. So the two villagers are down there waiting for you.
I think I just see black on mine.
Yeah, same.
Is that...
Let me see.
I'm also just seeing black.
Same here.
Faith
see
and
my
David
token.
may stay that way. Let me go ahead and reveal the map, though. All right, did that make any difference?
Nope.
Not for me. I also only see my token and nobody else's token.
Okay. May not be light, technically. Let's see.
Oh, that would explain it. It's literally just dark.
Let's just do this. All right, can you see now?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Just pretend it is dark and dreary instead of bright and vibrant. So that was the only reason that I actually even turned on the light settings, was just to like make it darker, but you just have to imagine.
I didn't come
Nice.
here and play this role-playing game with you guys to use my imagination. Jeez, Thomas.
Fair. That's definitely a failing on my part.
Yeah.
There we go. Oh, I forgot to tell you that the villagers were actually monkeys in barrels. But no, those are the villagers. Just ignore their tokens. Barrel monkeys.
They're
I love it.
cute.
All right. So you have gotten down on the beach, and the two of them are over there.
We come in peace. Take us to your leader.
Oh yes, indeed. We should take you to see Diana Morgan. She's the de facto leader around here. I guess mayor? A bit of an unofficial title.
Hmm. Interesting.
Say her name again, I'm sorry.
Diana Morgan.
Perfect, thank you for my notes.
Let me go ahead and drop that in chat.
She's Captain Morgan.
There you go. Diana Morgan.
I like it.
We don't need to be standing out here in the cold and wet any longer than necessary. Boy, go ahead and kick out the fire. I'll bring them to the village. Yes, sir. And he heads off and does exactly that. Well, despite your good luck in having your ship still intact, I'm afraid I don't have good news for you on the front of leaving this island. Anyone who's tried, because as you can see, there's plenty of ship parts around for us to use. We've tried rebuilding boats before, but we're always either destroyed by those strange creatures in the water or dragged back in by the pyramid.
Yeah, does that green light activate when the pulling mechanism is engaged?
I don't know, pulling mechanism or whatever, but it does seem to activate whenever new arrivals are due, so certainly lit up when me and my crew approached the island.
It's strange because it didn't light up when we came just now.
Oh, it certainly did. That was what tipped us off to start looking for someone to arrive.
I'm sorry. I believe what I mean is that it ceased its hold over us.
But
yeah.
only once we were past the point that a water-faring ship would have been dashed on the rocks.
Yes, precisely. Now, once
Oh.
it thinks it has you, luckily it leaves you alone. Otherwise, I shudder to imagine being dragged kicking and streaming all the way up to the top of that pyramid.
Oh, what happens there?
Now, what do you mean?
Well, what happens at the top of that pyramid?
I don't know. I certainly wouldn't be caught dead there. Nothing good, I'm sure.
Hmm.
Yeah, I was definitely also worried we were going to get dragged right to the pyramid.
Yeah.
Maybe get smashed on it with our floating ship.
Yeah, but no, there's a few in town you could ask about for more information on the pyramid. Deanna has some information, and she'll definitely want to talk to you. She always wants to talk to any new arrivals. It's also
For some reason, I was under the
couple-
impression that this was Diana. I'm so sorry.
no, I am random NPC number 3. Joe Normal.
I
Man.
think I knew your
Family
brother.
name.
Was your brother did your brother live in Atlantis? I think I saw him.
Oh, never heard of a place called Atlantis.
I guess you just got one of those names.
Yeah, that's what I hear. They're just like, Joe, normal man, you may have a long name, but sure seems like a lot of people have it. Ah, well, here we are. So you're at the outskirts of the village. You've climbed up a little ways and are now getting near to a cliff. You can see various torches that seem to be burning, wood and very slowly smoldering in small containers to keep them protected from the constant rain in the area. There are a variety of houses. You can see, some signs. There seems to be a smithy. There seems to be, which is not a word you would recognize. You're not sure what that is. There seems to be an inn and, various other things, kind of a store of some kind. Most things are shut down at this point. You also notice, so of course, most of these houses are built out of parts of ships. You do notice that there are also a few entrances that seem to go to some sort of underground domiciles or perhaps bunkers, you don't know, but some sort of underground structures. Good thing you got rid of the kapu that, well, I guess it's always raining, so it wouldn't even be a problem. But yeah, and you are led to kind of a larger one that seems to be made out of the prow of a what once would have been a rather impressive ship. It seems rather similar in style to the one that Manawanui, back in the day, a couple of your friends perhaps snuck aboard and then returned with a unwanted guest who had joined them unceremoniously.
Sad day. Gonna bring up my trauma like that.
Yeah, so it's similar to the galleon style pirate ship that Captain Lady used to be the captain of before joining your motley crew. And you can see that the front of it is boarded up. There's a door in, and it seems like the previous captain's quarters have been kept intact. He says, "Well, this would be Diana Morgan's place."
Manawanui is gonna go inside.
All right, do make sure to give a good word for how I've done escorting you. Say, good old Joe Normal Man. He really did a great job making us feel comfortable and at home here.
What a man that Joe Normal Man is.
Oh, Jay Normal. I love that guy. I named my son after him, actually.
Indeed. Perfect. Thank you very much. I'm sure I'll see you around town. There's not that many of us, so it's hard to really get away from someone, if you know what I mean. Yeah, good evening and best of luck. All right. So he heads off, and you head into the ship. The interior is a bit damp, but seems to be largely sealed. There aren't any major, there are, occasional drips here and there with a bucket or something underneath it, but for the most part, it seems to be keeping the weather outside of the ship. And you can see that you are ushered into a bit of a front guest room. It's like a, I don't know, kind of a living room setup. Tables and chairs and a few bookshelves, though on the books are only a few musty looking tomes. Otherwise they're largely empty, other than a couple of decorations, a candelabra and a few potteries. And you can see kind of at the back, or actually toward the left and right, are two circular staircases that seem to lead upward. And descending one of those, you see a figure. Looks like. Let me get the big image real quick. Looks like this.
Oh no, she's hot.
All right.
Our group's biggest weakness.
Pretty ladies.
I thought for sure it was going to be Captain Lady.
That would be
I'm not
funny.
gonna lie, I did have a I had a
Suspicion.
I had a gut feeling. Yeah, suspicion. Thank you.
All right, but it is in fact not Captain Lady, but it is a somewhat plump-looking middle-aged elf with red hair and green eyes, wearing a large green top hat and dark clothing. And she descends the stairs and says, "Oh, you finally made it! I heard that you were circling our island for the last 4 or 5 hours for some God's knows what reason."
God's nose is exactly right. It's our spiritual practice. Don't make fun of it.
Very well. We all have our rituals and whatnot. I'm glad that you have made it intact and safe to our little community. Oh, where are my manners? Please, sit. My name is Diana Morgan. I'm the mayor of this town. So she ushers you into a few chairs. A few of them are even upholstered. Rather plush compared to anything you're used to. And she brings out a small tray with a decanter on top, and she says, I took the chance to prepare a bit of warm mulled wine. Mushroom wine, so its flavor really can't compare to what we could have gotten back in the day, but it's pleasant enough. Would you care for a cup?
Was this once a much more prosperous area?
This area, I have no idea. You'd have to talk to one of the old timers, Corvin, perhaps. I'm like you are. I cast away on these cursed shores. I was once a cabin boy upon the ship where I once was a sailor. I was rather determined, though, to make more of myself, and through good luck and concerted effort, I quickly proved my skills to be valuable, though even that became fruitless as we were cast away on this island some, what would it have been, 5 or 6 seasons ago at this point. But, unperturbed to the degree to which I can, I have been determined to make the best of this situation, and I have made great strides in organizing the population of this island, and I must say, this village is quite a bit more comfortable than it once was. We've even managed to set a more or less permanent stop to the incursions of the wolves, though the necrotic mists are still somewhat of a problem.
Oh, the necrotic mist? That sounds interesting.
Yes. They largely appear in lower areas, though, thus the raised location that we have chosen for the village. But, you never did answer. Would anyone like a glass? And she tips the decanter with a gentle tinkle as a spoon inside of it kind of jiggles around.
I want to start to raise my hand, but does anybody want to put my hand down? Because I'm too young.
Yeah, this is fantasy world. This is like Britain, where you're drinking by the time you're 13, at least.
Yeah, but she's so innocent.
Hey,
She's
you
unworldly.
already got wasted at the fall festival when we had our little Halloween game. So
There you go. That's true.
you're
All
familiar.
right, I'm gonna have some mulled wine. If I can in real life, I may as well in RP. That sounds delicious.
All right, of course. Anyone else? She pulls one glass off of the tray.
Oh, I'll take some. Well, I don't know he's going to take some, but like not actually until, you know.
Okay. Delphine, of course, will nod her head. Oh, I'd like some as well. Might help with the chill in the air. And Deanna responds, "Oh, of course, it is great for the chill in the air. It will definitely help." Here we go. And she pours a few glasses and hands them out. And she looks at Ip and Monoanui. What about you two? If you would prefer something else, I could give you tea or just water. Must be quite thirsty after chanting so loudly as you circled our island for hours.
I would love some tea.
All right. I'm not sure what standards you're used to, but what little this island can provide, will of course, be more than happy to offer. So she heads on. So after handing the glasses to Mako, Dolphine, and Mono Anui, she quickly heads out and says, "I'll be back in just a moment. Please wait here." All right, you are now holding glasses of mulled wine.
Ip takes out a nectar of purification. Says, just in case, while she's back there, so we don't offend her.
All right. So what does the nectar of purification do?
Casts first rank cleanse cuisine spell over any food or drink onto which it's poured.
It's not gonna de-alcoholify it, will it?
I was about to say, I'm pretty sure that will remove all of the alcohol.
No, it says you transform all food and beverage into a delicious fare, changing water into wine or another fine beverage or enhancing a food's taste and ingredients to make it a gourmet treat. You can also choose to remove all toxins and contaminations from the food.
So are you choosing to remove toxins and contaminations?
That would be the idea in case she was trying to toxify us.
Well, that will make it non-alcoholic then.
Right, alcohol is a toxin.
Oh no. She was trying to toxify us.
Right, but just the normal way, just in a polite way.
So I guess it's up to you guys if you want good tasting non-alcoholic and poison-free drink or potentially poisonous alcohol.
Not Nui is not going to drink until she sees someone else drink. Either
I'm gonna
way.
raise my glass and then take a big ol' sip.
All right. Dolphine will as well. So
I'm
you guys
19 and I'm gonna live forever.
exactly. So it tastes. It's a mixed bag. She did mention that it was mushroom wine, and that certainly explains the flavor. It's an odd
It
kind of.
explains it, but it doesn't excuse it.
It's an odd kind of earthy flavor, but with a little bit of a hint of umami there as well, especially in the aftertaste. Alcohol wise, it's mid strength, so certainly nothing that's gonna put any hair on your chest or anything, but enough to have a little bit of a pleasant burn included. Not even a burn, but you can feel it. And the spices seem to be, to your estimation, quite good, though your experience of spices are quite limited. The exact spices are unfamiliar to you. They're a little bit spicy, but also kind of sweet, and with a I don't know how I would describe it. Like out of character, it's kind of cinnamon and nutmeg kind of flavor. But in character, you guys have no context for that, as those are
Hmm.
not spices that you have had in the past.
After seemingly no one, lights on fire after drinking it, Manawa Nui is going to drink it and give it a very appreciative.
Yeah, the base is a little bit strange and definitely takes some getting used to. It's not what you expect from wine, but the spices are doing some work, and overall, it makes a pleasant experience. It is warm as well, and so you do feel that warmth kind of suffusing you as you drink it. So, after a few moments, Diana returns from wherever she had headed with a small metallic kettle, and she pours a couple more glasses and hands them over to Ip and Akalupu. Here's tea for you two. I suppose you must have questions. It's not every day you're dragged onto a forsaken island by a giant pyramid and set adrift there.
How long have you been here?
I think it's 6 summers at this point.
Oh,
Yes,
that's
quite a
quite a
few
while.
years. Well, in the grand scheme of things, not truly so long. At least for me. Or well, at least for, ones like you and I.
Oh, I'm gonna give her an inquisitive look, like you
She's
and
an
I.
elf.
Yeah, well, I get that.
She points
I,
at the
I don't know.
she points at the ears and says, "Elves." Now, I think you knew that you were an elf because Captain Lady was an elf. Is that right?
I don't
Or was that not?
remember.
I don't remember. You were the one who created Captain Lady, so that's your call whether or not you knew that.
There was not a whole heck of a lot of thought that went into it. I'm gonna be 100% honest.
All right, then we'll just assume that you don't know. But yeah, she says,
Okay.
an elf," as she points at her ears.
I don't know if I know what that is.
Yeah, it's what you
If you're
are.
referring to the
Unless
your
you're
ears.
some other strange pointy-eared race that I'm not familiar with.
I was an orphan. I was orphaned long ago, so I wouldn't know too much about that.
I see. How sad. I'm sure your parents must be out there looking for you still to this day.
I'm gonna give like a little passive shrug, maybe.
Surely you've noticed that you seem to be aging quite significantly slower than your companions around you.
I did actually notice that,
Yes.
but
She just thought she was the world's most specialist little girl.
basically, I mean, Mono Inui is the world's most specialist girl. Let's be honest, Joel.
Exactly. Yes, we elves are gifted with incredibly long lives compared to most other races.
Also, out of character, Manawa Nui might have thought that her relationship with Topple is the reason that she's aging slow.
Yeah, because she became a Toppolite early in her life.
Fair. Even though it would be a little mixed. Like you would have been noticeably aging slower than people, from the beginning. But that's while you're a little kid still. So by the time you were finally a little preteen, you'd become, or at least physically preteen. So physically like 11, 12. You had already become a Toppolite, as you put it.
So where are you from? Aside from here, that is.
Well, we elves aren't really generally from anywhere. And where I was from is now dashed upon the rocks, and what could be salvaged of it is here around you.
Oh,
What do you mean you're not from anywhere? I mean, surely you originated at an island other than this one.
No, I was born aboard a ship and lived aboard a ship.
And is that
That-
normal for elves?
Yes?
Interesting.
We've generally found it to be more advantageous to keep mobile. Though we do have dealings quite regularly with those who do dwell upon the land.
hmm.
Yeah. If you have no further questions, I do have something I would like to ask of you.
I
Oh.
want to know more about the pyramid before we get into that.
Yes, that does dominate our lives. What would you like to know?
Well, has anyone gone to it? Gone into it? If it's some kind of a structure?
A fair number, though most who go into the pyramid do not return. Unfortunately, there was a group who left only recently and seems to have met that same fate. Or at least they haven't returned since they left 4 days ago.
What drove you to go to the-
There are two who have made it into the pyramid and returned to tell the tale, though. I would definitely suggest you speak to them. It would be Morgrim Redbeard, town's blacksmith, and Diana, Diana, Phoebe, his little friend. There's also one other, Corvin. He's been here longer than any of us. In fact, he's been here since, well, before things got worrying, I guess. You'll have to ask him about it for more details. But he will likely have some insight as well.
Oh.
As far as what's in there, we do know that the undead haunt the halls, and there are traps around every corner from what we've heard. But it seems to me that the only chance of ever escaping this island is for someone to get in there and disable the thing, whatever that would entail.
Interesting.
Yes, from what Corvin says, there seems to be some entity, figure, something of that kind, who rules the place. And, well, removing him seems to be the most expedient way for all of us to get off this island.
Well, then let
Hmm.
us remove him together.
Perfect. That is actually exactly what I was hoping to ask you about. None of us are best pleased to stay here, and I think all of us would love to get off if we could. Unfortunately, most of us, well, we're not quite up to the task of piercing through the defenses of the pyramid, but you seem to be a rather capable lot.
And your phone must have died.
Uh-oh, we lost Abe again. And of course, when she says that, she eyes Akalupu. His massive musculature.
Just looking capable as heck.
Oh, yeah.
The
Hot.
most capable.
Right? When he's not picking his nose.
LOL. Who? Me?
No, Akalupu.
No.
No,
Uh,
Mono
what was the
distracted
last
with
thing you
rocks.
got before your phone died?
Mono Nui asked how far away this place was.
Well, what was the last thing that Deanna said?
Oh, I don't remember.
Okay. Had she
I think
told
she-
you about had she told you about the fact that she was asking you to go into the pyramid?
Yeah, she said there's some entity there.
Okay. Yeah, so you caught most of it, and then Mako said, no. Ip said then we should deal with the entity, and she said that was actually what she was going to ask you to do. And she said that
Oh.
most of the villagers here are not really strong enough to be able to pierce the defenses of the pyramid, but that you seem like a very capable lot.
Well, that's nice of her to say.
She just doesn't
Hmm.
need extra mouths to feed. She's like, you know what you guys should do?
Hey, you know that giant death pyramid up there?
It's all good for her.
Okay.
Either we, defeat the entity in the pyramid and everybody gets to leave the island, or she doesn't have to deal with new people and new dynamics in the group.
Fair enough.
But that's out of character. Obviously, we're right in front of her. I'm not saying that out loud to her.
Right.
I'm not going to be the one to say it. Oh, well.
All right.
And besides,
And then you
we're
ask how
so
far
ready to
you ask
head
how
in.
exactly, and then you ask how
How
far
far
away it
would it be?
is, and she says, "Oh, about a day's journey. And really isn't that far per se, but the jungle or forest or however you want to call it between here and there is rather twisted, and there aren't settled trails, so you will have to push through the brush, unfortunately." And there's also the matter of, the necrotic mists and packs of wolves that I mentioned before.
So it'd be pretty slow going.
Yes. I would certainly bring supplies with the expectation of it taking you at least 2 days to get there. And you'll want more for once you're in as well. Though, if you are able to beat a trail, returning should be significantly faster. Maybe just a few hours, as long as you're able to clear the way a little bit.
Hmm. A lot of what I was thinking.
Well, what are we waiting for? I kind of want to meet Phoebe and Morgrim to hear about their adventures at the pyramid.
Yes, you should certainly go see them. They'll have information about what they saw. They made it through a bit of the first floor, from what I've heard, though. It was, well, they lost a few people and had to make a rather daring escape, but being the only ones to have made it back out so far, that's certainly an impressive feat, and no doubt about it. You can probably find them over at the blacksmith shop. Morgrim is generally there. He's rather committed to his work and to his craft.
What is this blacksmithing that you're talking about?
Metal worker. He's able to shape and forge metal into various different forms and functions.
Metal?
You're familiar with metals.
Are we?
You've got
Sure.
Gur is made of metal. The coin you found in the fish, or well, that Gur found in the fish, was made of metal. You saw metal objects in Darhan. You own metal objects because your the goggles that you got in Darhan, as well as Aklupa's earrings, are metal. The tower on the island was made of metal. The
don't know that we
various
ever called it
automatons
metal,
on
though.
there are metal.
We were just like, this is some hard, cold stuff. I like it.
I don't know. I feel like at this point you would have put together some idea that this is different from stone. And there must be some word for it, so I'll assume that you can at least pick it up from context.
I like it.
All right. Well, I'm glad we could come to such an agreement. If you have anything else you need of me, please do come see me again. And if you're looking for Corvin, as I said, he's been here longer than any of us, so you should certainly speak with him before you go as well. He should be in the inn. All right, so you head out.
Manowanui's gonna stay behind a little bit.
Okay. So the rest of the group starts heading out, and Monoanui lingers behind a little bit.
Yeah, she's gonna ask us like a little bit more questions.
Okay.
So what do you know about elves?
How long are you planning to be here? Is this like a 30 seconds
like
to a minute, or are you splitting the group?
Oh, splitting the group.
All right,
Monoanui's
then we
like,
will
"Okay,
go
you guys
ahead
go."
and split the group. So, Monoanui, you stay with Diana. Everyone else.
Akalupu is staying with Manoanui.
What'd you say?
Akalupu is staying with Manoanui.
Bodyguard mode.
Basically, gotta
Okay.
make sure that she doesn't
Manoanui,
throw herself into any
Yeah.
volcanoes.
There we go. All right, Monoanui, you're not shooing her away or him away.
Nah, Monoanui's like he's earned the right to know a little bit of information.
All right. So, Mako, Dolphin, and Ip, you guys head over. You did, even though you weren't sure what it was, you now recognize the sign for the blacksmith. And heading in, you can see that the top part of the blacksmith is mostly just a shop. So there are, a few wares sitting out. You have no gauge by which to, figure out how impressive these wares are, but they certainly seem very impressive and, strange to your eyes, having not seen metal implements very often. And the house here seems to be in better repair than even Diana's was. There are no leaks whatsoever, and the interior, though a little bit wet just from the moisture in the air. It's constant 100% humidity here, of course. But other than that, it seems to be quite dry, and you can see a light coming from a set of stairs off to one side. And you can hear noises coming from it. As you approach the entrance, you can actually feel a vague warmth coming from it. And seeing nowhere else to go, I imagine you head down.
Yes.
All right. So you head down. You're clearly going into some sort of underground space, and as you are heading down, it goes from being, dry but a bit on the musty side to, or not musty, but on the damp side, to instead being actually warm and completely dry. You can see that the underground structure here has been built in such a way that any water that does come down here pools into small gutters and is efficiently channeled outward. And you can hear coming from below you the sound of metal striking metal. And there seems to be a singing coming from below in a language you do not recognize unless someone speaks Dwarven.
Definitely not.
Yeah, no, I'm almost positive not.
Yeah. So unless you want to chug a potion of an elixir of comprehension.
No, that seems private. Like, I mean, I don't think I'm.
All right.
I don't need to like learn.
Yeah,
what's
Mono
happening
Anui's
right
not
now.
here. Otherwise.
Yeah.
All right. So you continue downwards, and you soon find yourself in a room. David, would you like to describe what they see?
Room, which is brightly lit by a seemingly immense flame at the back, held in a large brick oven, almost like I'm sure they've seen brick ovens before, but the bricks are of an unusual color where they're not completely scorched black by the seemingly constant flame that is took there. In front of it is the silhouette of a large, strangely angular figure. Although large, he's short, but extremely wide, wider than anyone you've ever seen before. He lifts a mighty hammer that seems to be encased in flames as it strikes down at a slow but steady rate, seemingly in pace with emphasis on certain words within the song. This continues as he does not seem to have noticed your presence over the sound of the roaring flame and his constant striking of the metal. I assume somewhere in here Faith Phoebe is sitting?
I imagine Phoebe's skulking in the shadows, ready to make a dramatic reveal in a moment.
See that.
Or are you just sat on a chair humming along to the Forge song? Your legs dangling in the air.
I think so.
All right, so you also see a small figure. Let me go ahead and drop their images. You guys can get a look. So we have the dwarven figure, or the short metal-clad figure, who looks like so. Long beard and almost entirely encased in metal. He also is wearing a set of goggles that are reflecting the red firelight, though you can't see them yet as he's not turned around. And then someone who does see you is a very small figure, barely 3 feet tall. It seems like a child at first, but her curves belie an age that is certainly no child. And her little legs dangling in the air as she kicks them. She's humming along to the song. You can see her purple hair. She does seem rather sallow, though, with
My hair's blue. My eyes are purple.
blue hair and purple eye, piercing purple eyes. She does seem rather sallow, though, with pale skin, and you can see some streaks of white in her hair.
Also, I'm 2 feet 5 inches.
There we go. So not even 3 feet tall.
Aw, she's little.
Yeah.
And we will go ahead, and unless people would like to do awkward introductions here, it has been 2 hours. Do people want to go ahead and call it here, and we'll pick up next time?
That sounds good to me.
Let's start with introductions and then, Mono Anui's conversation about elves. Next.
All right. Sounds good. So let's go ahead and wrap up. And as always, let's see. Let's do Ip first. What has Ip learned?
Ip learned that Diana Morgan really meant little friend. That wasn't just a figure of speech.
She did indeed. And Morgrim, is like 4-ish feet tall, but he's like Akalupu big. So he's a chunk. All right. Let's see. Let's do Mako next. What has Mako learned?
That mulled wine, even gross, mushroom wine,
Yep.
is great on a, cold, chilly day.
Oh yeah, you felt significantly better after drinking a glass of that. And let's do Akalupu. What has he learned?
Hakalupu learned that Mano Inui has a problem with their hand.
That's very true. And I'm sure it will be fine. You know, don't worry about it.
That's like Mano Anui's catchphrase. Just don't worry about it.
Exactly. And speaking of Mana Wanui, what has she learned?
Mono Nui learned she's not alone.
Indeed. I'm sure there will be some rather interesting reveals here. You're starting to, meet a few of the outside cultures. Elves, dwarves, gnomes. Hodgepodge of individuals who seem to be much more well-traveled than you're used to, as so far all of these people have been shipwrecked here, meaning that they had the ability to sail the seas to get here in the first place. And
Ooh, we're getting lore. Exciting.
I know.
I imagine Morgrim and Phoebe have just learned that their GM talks way too long and they just spent 2 hours not playing.
I had fun, but I did learn another thing.
What did you learn?
Sometimes you spend an hour and a half writing the lyrics to a Forge song and nobody wants to hear it.
You'll have a chance. It's not like this is the only time you'll be forging.
That's
Like,
very
no,
true.
this seems personal. I don't need to know this. He was like dying inside.
Yeah, no, he was definitely counting on Mono Inui to be here because I knew as soon as I said it was in a strange language you didn't understand, Mono Inui to be like, comprehend languages. All right,
Well,
what about Phoebe?
It is.
Sorry, go ahead, David.
I learned that. Go ahead.
It is Morgrim's Forge song, so like you said, this is not the last time he's going to be singing it. Pretty much every time he makes something, he's going to be singing it.
There you go. So
Exactly.
you've got time. It's going to come up again.
I learned that I can do school while role playing.
Yeah, especially this session. It was like a little podcast, you just hanging out and listening. Well, we'll be getting your characters in there next time. Yeah, that is it. I'm glad everyone joined me. I hope you all had a great time. I know I did. And I'll see you all at the